All right, so working today with hands, arms, shoulders, and lots of material here. So I hope to get back to some of this maybe in a workshop this fall. But I just want to identify a couple of uh, muscles that I'll refer to. So the trapezius is this large muscle. It actually is connected to the back of the head and goes down along the border of the scapula shoulder and into the upper spine. And a lot of us do this a lot, right? You probably are familiar with your trapezius in some way or another. Latissimus dorsi is big, the largest muscle in the upper body, and that's like this whole big side of the back, right? It's a superficial muscle. And then tricep. The tricep is the back of the arm, where my friend has been squishing my arm and saying, "Why are you so squishy?" That's my triceps. And then a small bone in the hand. So in the palm of your hand, on the pinky side, if you want to take your opposite finger and just palpate that little bone, there's a little bony protrusion right there where the heel of the hand meets the wrist. That's the pisiform. I think that's how you say it. Pisiform. Pisiform. And I'll refer to some of those places as we carry on. So we know that everything's connected in the body, and we know that we can't really have one area isolated that we need to work on without working on everything. But we are going to sort of focus on the hands, the arms, the shoulders, and I'll kind of move around a bit with some dynamic action and then some very static things. But the hands, myofascially, are connected through the arms and the shoulders to the spine. So actually, we need to be very intentional about how we move our hands. And of course, we move our hands and use our hands daily for many activities. And so the very first thing I want to do is kind of feel this connection. So if you go to your back, because this movement, the movement of the hands and the arms, really affects the alignment and functionality of the spine. And the spine, of course, is our center axis, our plumb line, our very important to us, right? So come to your back and lie on your back on your mat, and I'll meet you there. And if you have your 2 blocks or your 2 balls, you're going to take those with you. Okay. So just come to a position of comfort, and as if you were going to press into bridge, and just feel your whole back against the floor. Take a couple of breaths here just to settle in. And we've talked about this a couple of times. If you feel like you have any wrinkling in your back, just see if you can undo that wrinkle. If you need to move a little bit, you can. We'll move together as well. And then I'll illustrate with both block and ball, but I think you'll get the idea. Take whatever you have beside your hips and put the palms onto that item. So I have my palms down on the balls here. And then press into the item firmly. So elbows extended, fingers extended. So my arms are off the ground, and I'm pressing down into the blocks, the balls, the cans. And I want you to feel that connection to your back, to your spine. And so you could go back and forth. You could relax it a bit, relax your arms, and then press again. Just a couple times, feeling the connection between all the way from the hands through the arms and into the spine. Great. And then relax that, and I'm just going to move this out of the way in case you need to look up here. Now, go ahead and draw your pubic bone towards your navel. And as you press, so the blocks or the balls are to the side, as you press into your feet, curl up like you're going to a bridge. Feel the spine articulating, just a soft lifting, and then exhale, come back down. We do this a lot. So just a couple times here, just feeling the articulation in your spine. Again, we start with a neutral-ish spine, or the pubic bone towards the navel slightly, and then press and roll up. And then back down. Okay, now take your blocks or your ball or your cans beside you. Press your hands, palms into the item, elbows extended, arms are off the floor. So you feel your shoulders making contact. Press pretty hard, friends, and then draw your pubic bone towards your navel, and then lift back up into the bridge. Arms keep pressing, and slowly lower back down. Now this should be quite a bit more difficult. All right, and relax for a minute. We'll try it a couple times. So fingers extended, elbows extended, so the arms are off the floor. Press down into the blocks or the balls or the cans. Draw pubic bone towards navel, and then press and lift. And you can go for a little more height. Should be quite a bit more of a challenge. So the latissimus dorsi is working here. And roll back down. We'll do one more. Okay. Press into the balls, arms extended, and lift. And then roll back down. Good. And now you can set the blocks or the balls over to the side. Relax first, just a breath. And then pubic bone towards navel. Okay, feel the space. You create more length in the back. And then press into your feet and lift. And hold now here. And now reach your arms up and over. Backs of your hands behind you. Leave your arms here. And now as you roll back down, articulating slowly through your spine, feel for a stretch through latissimus dorsi. All the way down. And then you can inhale your arms back and down beside you. Do that one more time. Just set everything up very intentionally. So draw the pubic bone towards the navel, press into the feet, lift. Sweep the arms back. You can leave the arms behind you and then slowly roll yourself down one vertebra at a time. And then you can bring your arms back. Good. Okay, so while we're here on the back, just go ahead and you can take some, the knees side to side in some windshield wiper action. We don't want to totally ignore the rest of the body here before we get to more of the shoulders and hands. And maybe the knees around in a circle. Both directions. Just whatever feels nice to sort of articulate through the pelvis, the hips. You could bring the knees in and squeeze. You could extend and bend through your legs. We'll stand a little bit today, mostly be working sitting or kneeling, but opening up the hips here. Okay, good. And then come back to that position of comfort. And now we'll just have to turn here so I have room. So now we'll take one arm at a time. And so as you press into your feet, sweep your right arm up and back. Head's neutral, you're looking at the ceiling. And then as you lower, you're going to, with the right arm, you're going to make like a snow angel and turn your gaze to the left. Arm comes back into position. And then as you sweep the left arm up and over, head back to neutral. And then as you exhale, a snow angel with the left arm and gaze to the right. And then inhale, sweep the left arm up, right arm up behind you. And then as you sweep the arm over into a snow angel, gaze to the left. And head back to center as you inhale the left arm up. And then you'll make a snow angel, so it'll come beside you. I did forget to mention, yes, that you're lowering your hips with all that. And then your right arm comes up. You're looking up at the ceiling. Right arm behind you. And then as you lower, right arm making a snow angel, and you're looking to the left. And then pressing into your feet, left arm up, head comes back to center. And then a snow angel over on the side, so your arm stays in contact with the floor the whole time. Inhale, sweep the right arm up, head back to center. And then as you lower, you'll make like a snow angel with the right arm. Take your gaze to the left. Inhale, left arm, hips up, head looks up to center. And then as you lower, sweep your arm over to the side, look to the right. All right, I think we've all got it now. So a couple more. And you might go for a little higher lift in the hips. And left arm up, gazing in the opposite direction as we bring everything down. Good. And then once you've done one more evenly on both sides, you can cross at your ankles and come up to a seat. Great. And now here in our seat, you can decide for yourself if you'd like to sit on a block in Virasana, or you could sit in Sukhasana. Just get comfortable. Okay. All right. And so now we'll inhale the arms up, and on the exhale, bring one forearm in front and one forearm in back. And then inhale, arms up. Exhale, one forearm in front, one forearm in back. And that's the pattern. Just don't worry too much about, we're just kind of getting these big, gross movements into the shoulders. So don't worry too much about what the position of the hands or anything is yet. We're just working here. And then the next time you have your right arm in front, right forearm in front, I'll mirror you. Drop your chin into your chest and then follow the same side of your clavicle. So same side as the front arm. And just with your chin, just move to the shoulder and back into the center. And do that a couple of times. And then switch arms. So opposite arm in front, again, with your chin in towards your chest, you'll just sort of move through from the center of your sternum across the clavicle, the collarbone, out towards the shoulder. Great, and then relax your hands, relax your shoulders. And let's go to the hands for just a minute. So make a fist with, so we tend to be very tight in the top of the forearm, and most of us have a weakness in the bottom of the forearm. So make a fist, and then you can do this with both hands. You're just going to curl with the fists. Curl the fists up towards you, and keep this isolated in your wrists. Now, if you had some little weights at home, if this feels pretty accessible to you and easy, then you could do this later with some weights or every day with some weights. And then turn the fist down and do the opposite curl, like you're revving up a motorcycle. And of course, this is the top of the forearm where we tend to get tight, but we know that we need to also fatigue a muscle or work the muscle in order to then relax it. Good, and then relax that. Now bring your elbows into your side, palms up. Okay, and we'll take the left hand out, keep the elbow in, and keep the body from, we don't want to twist at the body, it's not a twist. We're just moving in the shoulder joint. So take one arm out, the other arm out, keeping the hands about lined up with the elbows. So your forearms are parallel. You could see mine there if you look up now. My forearm is parallel to the earth. All right. And you can feel the action. If you go slowly enough, you can feel the action in your shoulder blades. And then you can try both together. Keep the elbows in to the sides. Good. And then bring your elbows together, your palms facing you. And this might be peekaboo pose. Think I've been doing this week? Anyway, keep the elbows together as you separate your hands. Palms facing you. See, If you can keep the elbows together. Now, if this is really challenging for you, you might have something, I find this actually more challenging to do, but you could try having something in between your elbows as like a spacer. Great. Now, let's try the palms facing one another, elbows together, and see if you can come up. Oh, a lot of work. It seems like a simple thing, but quite a bit of work. So see if you can get an even spread, right and left. And how far can you get? So do this do this with inquiry and not with over effort. Do it as an inquiry. Don't have it be a struggle. Good. And then relax your hands. Probably want to roll the shoulders a little bit challenging there. Shake out your arms. And then let's bring the arms out to a T. And here, just open and close your fists. Reach the fingers out. Start off kind of slow. And then you can speed up. Opening and closing the hands. And relax. Now you could feel with that probably the fatiguing on the top of the forearm. So now just take the back of your hands into your thighs and stretch through there. Good. And release. Let's come to our knees, standing on our knees. And interlace your hands behind your sacrum. Keep the elbows bent, and then just draw your hands away from your back. Good. And you could stand for this as well if it bothers you to be on your knees, but you're going to just move back and forth between a fold and then opening back up, standing back up or coming back onto your knees. Keeping the hands just off the sacrum, elbows bent. So we're not bringing the arms over the head here, just keeping the elbows bent and the hands just off the back. Good. And then relax your shoulders. And now you can come back to a seat, or you could stay standing. I'll have a couple different orientations to show you. So half Gomukhasana, the cow face pose. So we're going to bring our, let's bring our left arm up, or it's my right arm, it's your left arm if you're looking at me. And I'm going to turn to face, to have you look at my back. So instead of having the hand in the middle, take your opposite hand and rotate the elbow in, and see if you can bring your hand more right at the back of your shoulder. So you might have to kind of pull. You're going to spin the tricep. You're going to spin the tricep. I'll turn and face you again. Spin the tricep in towards your face. And we're going for the hand more at the shoulder for this stretch, right? Rather than in the middle of the back, more at the shoulder. So keep working with the tricep, spinning the tricep in. Good. And then when you feel like you have that one figured out, release that and try the other side. And this arm, the shoulder might be quite a bit tighter. So you sort of put your thumb and your fingers on your elbow, kind of slide up, rotate the tricep in, and go for that position. And then release and then shake your arms out. Okay, let's go to the wall for a couple of things. Okay, so we're going to, if you have a wall space, if you don't, you could have the floor be the wall. Okay, but I want you to come into the wall in Tadasana and feel your buttocks against the wall and sort of draw the flesh of your buttocks down. Feel your whole shoulder blades pressed against the wall. Whole shoulder blade pressed against the wall. And then my arms will come out of the frame, but that's okay. Just inhale and reach your arms up. And feel the shoulder blades connected to the wall. And then relax that back down. And do that a couple of times. Now, you should have the natural curves in your spine, so your low back will be away from the wall slightly, and so will the back of your neck. That's what we want. But your buttocks are pressed into the wall, and your shoulder blades. Good. Okay, and then we did that from the side, like snow angels. Now try doing that, bringing your arms parallel out in front of you, and then up. And then you can release down the sides. Okay, and then parallel, and then sweep them up. Okay, and then release. Okay, and now stand next to a wall and extend one arm out, fingers up, and the heel of your hand is at your armpit level. Armpit level. Great. Now press into the heel of your hand. Press into the heel of your hand. Take the other arm out at the same height. Turn your feet sort of like Charlie Chaplin feet. Press into the wall firmly through the heel of your hand. Feel the finger pads making contact with the wall. And press equally with the arm that's in the air. Okay, feel the extension through both arms. And then just pivot your whole body slightly towards the arm that's in the air. Almost like you were being turned on a spit. Okay, so keeping the head lined up with the pelvis in the turn. So everything stays in the same orientation, and you should feel an opening through the shoulder, the front of the shoulder, the arm that's into the wall. And then you can slowly turn back and release that arm. And then my orientation will be a little different for this wall here. Take the other hand into the wall. Okay, about heel of the hand about armpit height. Press into the wall. Take your feet in that Charlie Chaplin position. Other arm reaches out, same orientation. And we're pulling the fingers back towards the forearm, and then pivot on your spit. Oh, keep reaching through both arms. You press against the wall, you reach away with the other arm. And then pivot back and release, and you can shake out your arms a bit. Good. And then let's come down to hands and knees, but we're going to really look at how we place our hands on the floor for both, all the hand balancing postures, okay? So when you put your hands underneath your shoulders, you really want to line up the middle finger, your middle finger, with the outer border of your shoulder, outer border of your shoulder. And so for most of us, even if you're like a slightly built, right? That's almost as wide as the mat, almost as wide as the mat. So your hands might even turn out slightly. The index finger or the middle finger, kind of depends on your hands, but somewhere the index finger or the middle finger is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Now, in this position, notice, you can even close your eyes. I think sometimes when I close my eyes, it helps me notice more. Notice whether the weight is all on your heel of your hand, and play around with just coming forward a little bit and getting the weight more on the finger mounds, the finger pads. And then backing up and feeling how that changes things. Just playing around with where is the weight centered. So often we put all of the weight on the heel of the hand. And if we are moving the weight into the outside of the hands, that pisiform is what I talked about, that little bone. If we're moving the weight to the outside of the hands, the outside, this is the ulna on the outside of your arm, and the inner bone is the radius. So the radius is the one that's weight bearing. That's meant to be weight bearing. It transfers the weight into the upper arm. And the ulna, its function is just to facilitate rotation. So when you put your weight on your hands, we talk about it in yoga a lot, the weight more on the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. So bring your hands back down to the floor and feel for really pressing into the thumb and the index finger and the middle finger. And there's still weight on the outside of your hands, but the majority of the weight is on the inside of your hands. So when you're in this position, the eye of the elbow, like where the elbow bends, that should sort of point to the middle of the top of your mat. So play with that just a little bit and find that position of the arms. Turning this way to face you. So the eye of the elbow, sort of if you had a triangle in front of you, the eye of your elbows would face this point at the top of your mat. Okay, great. All right, so we'll come back to that, but first we'll come back onto our heels with the hips and turn the palms up. Turn the palms up like you're going to serve somebody a meal. And then as you come forward, take the tips of your fingers to the mat. Starting with the tips of your fingers to the mat, begin to roll down onto the fingers. Okay, and then for some of us, we might be able to go all the way down, palms completely on the floor. All right, so this gives our wrists the opposite stretch, right? And you might even, this is the position of our hands most of the time in yoga. So coming here is a good opposite stretch. You might even practice a plank or two this way. We won't today, and then slowly back off. Now, if that is impossible in your hands or wrists, you could have the fingers out slightly. Okay, fingers out slightly. So we'll do one more here. Finger pads, fingers, palms, and you can see how it feels to move forward and how it feels to move back. Big stretch to move your hips back. Great. And then we'll come back. You can shake out the hands. And then we can come back to table with the hands down in the normal position, but now turn the back of one hand into the floor. Don't put a lot of weight there, just stretch there through the back of the hand, that's back, the top of the wrist stretching. And then you can try the other side. And maybe this one feels different. And then release yourself back onto your hips, shake your hands out. Okay, and then we'll come back to a seat. So sitting and either Sukhasana or Virasana on the block. Good. So now take your hands, interlace your hands in front of you. You're going to put your hands, the backs of your hands on your top of your head. Okay. And then very slowly, so you can really feel what engages. Very slowly, you'll extend the arms. As soon as you feel that the trapezius is working, stop. Relax, let the trapezius relax down. Okay, so somewhere about in here is where most of us are going to really feel like we are using the trapezius. So relax the trapezius. And now from here, can you feel for squeezing the triceps in, squeezing the triceps in, squeezing muscle to bone to straighten the arms? Press through your fingers, press through the heel of your hand, and maybe you can bring the arms to line up with the ears. But you really feel like if you feel the trapezius working, relax it again and squeeze the arms. Squeeze the triceps in towards your head. And then release. Okay, a lot of work there. I'm going to turn and face you this way for a different angle. Again, tops of the hands interlaced. You could try changing the lace of your hands. Okay, and then the other thing you want to look for is, are you borrowing from the spine? Are you using the lower back and doing the work from there? So draw the low ribs in, draw the navel in, and draw the tailbone down towards the floor. And as you extend the arms, feel for this trapezius work, let that go. Feel, keep the low ribs knitted in and squeeze your arms onto your bone. Squeeze the triceps in. I guarantee you, if you're doing this in the way I'm trying to describe it to you, you're going to feel it now and later. And then release. Okay. Okay, now we'll bring the hands in front of the chest, interlaced in front of the chest. And the same thing, as you extend the arms out, can you do this by squeezing the triceps in, squeezing muscle to bone, And then from here, without borrowing from the spine, so this will be in the shoulders, draw the navel in, draw the low ribs in, and then see how easy it is to get the arms up or not. And once you're here, if you've used the triceps, the trapezius, relax up there in the trapezius, squeeze triceps, and release. Good, lot of work. Now, while we're sitting in this position, if you're not in Virasana, that's with the legs back, right? If you're in Sukhasana, can you go to Virasana, sit up on a block, and bring both feet to one side. Both feet to one side. Good. All right, so my knees are going off to the right. So I'm going to take my right arm back. I'm going to take my left hand, because this is onto my right elbow, and then I'm going to twist in the opposite direction. Okay, so feet going off to the right. I'm resting my right ankle on my left foot, and then my left arm comes behind to take my right elbow, and then I twist to my left. And then I release and take my feet to the other side. Now I've got my knees sort of off to the right. I'm sitting up on something for my hips, blanket, block. Okay, knees to the right. My right foot is kind of pointing to the left. I'll turn this way. And my left foot is nestled in my right arch of my foot. Okay, and then I'm going to take my left elbow with my right arm, so I come behind, and then I twist to the right. And then release. Okay, come off the block, set your block aside, and let's come back to hands and knees. Last thing I want you to sort of play with is that we often talk about spreading the fingers really wide in yoga. Play around with the fingers together, perhaps a little separated. You definitely want to be aware that if we take the thumb out too intensely to the side, so keeping your thumb maybe a little closer to your fingers. And then feel the weight through the mounds of the, so this whole, the index finger, middle finger, index finger, and thumb. Feel the weight on the mounds of those fingers. All right, and then turn your toes under and press up and back into downward facing dog. So we're going to stay in this downward facing dog for about a half a minute, just to get an idea of where we tend to put our weight in our hands. Now in your downward facing dog, legs are engaged. Spin your triceps down towards the floor, or maybe feel that squeezing of the triceps in towards the midline. And we'll go just a little bit longer. Maybe you can sense in your hands where you're putting most of your weight. But certainly now, if you drop to your knees and pick your hands up and you look at your hands, you'll probably see a bit of redness in your hands, and you'll see where you tend to put the weight in your hands in downward facing dog. Okay? So, again, we don't want the weight all in the heel of the hands. We want the weight distributed in these 3 fingers primarily, because that is the weight-bearing side of the forearm and into the humerus. So come back into your all fours and set up your hands. Practice maybe a little bit of the hands together more, but certainly have your hands as wide almost as the edge of your mat. That, for most of us, that's appropriate. And then turn your toes under, lift your knees up, and set your hips back, downward facing dog. And then walk your feet up to your hands. And inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Lengthen through your back. Exhale to fold. And now interlace your hands at your back, opposite grip, just like we did when we were sitting. Bend your elbows, bring your arms off your back. Good. Inhale to lift up. Take your time and exhale to fold. Inhale, press into your feet, lift up. Take your time so you don't get too dizzy. And exhale, fold. So the elbows stay bent, and you just have your hands off your sacrum. And we're stretching through the shoulders. Good. And then next time you're up, release the hands. I'm going to turn, I'll turn sideways first and then to the back. Take one hand to one elbow and one hand to the other. Here we go. I got my back to you to show you. And then from here, without the spine doing the work, can you lift your arms away from your back? Lift your arms away from your back. Draw your tailbone into the body and down. Knit the front ribs. And release. Take the opposite orientation. Draw your arms off your back. See, I'll turn this way a bit. Draw your arms off your back. Tailbone reaches down, navel in. And release. Good. All right, let's come to the mat and face the long edge of the mat now. And take a long stance, a wide stance. And I want you just to go to Warrior Two. Either side is fine. Just go into your Warrior Two. And then extend the arms out. And just have some awareness. So not too much emphasis on the legs here. Just have some awareness of your arms, your hands, and what you're doing with your arms and your hands. Release and straighten the front leg, and let's turn to the other side. And now the inquiry, as you stretch the arms out, is do you tend to sort of flare the fingers up? All right, how quickly do your forearms, your shoulders, and your neck fatigue in Warrior Two? All right, so we tend to And you can relax for a minute, straighten the front leg, and just relax into a big wide stance. So we tend to pick the, flex at the wrist, pick the fingers up, and we tend to fatigue through the forearm and then up into the upper arms and to the shoulders. So take the first side again. Get your legs set first. And then reach the arms out. And now press down sort of into an imaginary wall. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Okay. So reach through the fingers, like extend through the fingers, but avoid tilting the fingers up. Reach through the fingers. And now, can you press on sort of an imaginary wall so you're squeezing the tricep and squeezing the armpit up? Almost like you're pulling energy up through your palm and out through, all the way up into your armpit. Release. We'll take the other side. Stretch the arms out and notice too which hand, which finger leads, okay? So often I like the cue of leading with the ring finger or even the pinky finger. What if your pinky finger was leading? And then relax the wrists, right? Relax the wrists and then sort of press down on the palms and feel for like sucking up energy from the ground, from the earth, through the palms and up into your armpits. Good. And then we'll straighten the front leg, release the arms down in front. And we'll heel toe the feet together, come together. And let's just do one sun salutation here. So at the top of your mat, inhale to sweep your arms up. And exhale, fold through center. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, reach the crown long. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back, high plank. Notice where the weight is in your hands. So if you press through your heels, get your weight onto the mounds of your fingers, good. And then from here, you can lower your knees or come straight through Chaturanga, come to the floor. Inhale into a baby cobra. And then curl the toes and press through and back, downward facing dog. Squeeze triceps in. On your next inhale, walk or jump your feet to your hands, lengthening through the spine, and then exhale, fold. Press into your feet. And now as you sweep your arms up, go slowly enough so you can feel or sense, do your thumbs go first? Do the middle fingers go first? The pinkies go first? Try something just a little bit different. Exhale through center. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step or jump back, high plank. And take an inhale, and on your next exhale, lower to the floor. Lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Curl the toes under, exhale, press back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, walk or jump your feet to your hands. Reach the crown long. Exhale, fold, drape yourself over your legs, bend your knees, press into your feet as you inhale, but notice the action of your hands and arms. And then release your hands to the heart center and then down to your sides, Tadasana. We'll do one last thing here in Tadasana. So take your hands to your hips. Now separate your elbows away from each other. Hands stay on the hips, but feel like you're pulling your elbows away from one another. Pull, pull, pull. Really isometric work. Really feel that work. And then release your hands, keeping the elbows pointing out. The insides of the elbows pointing in towards the body. Release your hands down, palms back. Close your eyes and feel. Chin level with the floor, low ribs tucked in, tailbone in towards the body and down towards the floor. Now with this position, just turn the palms to face forward. Just the palms of the hands. Good. And then from here, you can segue to the floor. You could go through another sun salutation, or you could just bend your knees, come on to your fingertips, drop through a hip balance, and release yourself back down to the floor. Once you're on the floor, revisit the dynamic bridge, either one arm at a time or both. Just prepare, and then getting ready for Shavasana. Let's bring the knees up over the hips and the arms out to the side. We'll drop the knees to one side, and then with the top leg rather, just inhale that top leg up, keeping the knees wide and arms open. We'll drop the knees to the other side. So a little dynamic twisting. Couple times with the arms in T. And then the next time your knees drop over to the left, let your right arm come over. And then open, keep the knees there, and open the right arm back up. Big twist. And then inhale the knees back to center. And exhale, drop both knees to the right. Bring the left hand over to meet the right. And then sweep the left arm open. Big twist. And you could do that one more time on each side, or you can come to the center now and anything else you need before you rest in Shavasana. And in the Shavasana now, with the arms out about 45 degrees from your body, press slightly into the back of your head and tuck your shoulder blades underneath. So you're really opening through the collarbones and the heart space. So the center energy system in the body, or energy center, is the heart chakra, the Anahata chakra. And that the hands and the arms are connected to the heart chakra. They are the expression of our heart, what we do in the world, how we give and receive. So feel the connection there. And then begin to just let yourself go. Let your effort go and rest in the support of the floor of the earth. And then soften your hands. Sense the vibration, the sensation in the hands. Inhale to a soft belly. Soften your hands. Keep coming back to the hands and see if you can sense your hands from the inside out. If you feel any holding anywhere, can you bring your attention there, which allows you to bring your breath there and let that go. Sensing any desire to be in a hurry here, just give yourself this time. Just give yourself a few more minutes. Soften your hands. And you can stay here as long as you like. There's no, it's not necessary to come back up to your seat. If you'd like to, you can. And we're going to take this really slowly and intentionally. Bring one hand in front of your heart. Bring the opposite hand to join. Maybe the most significant gesture we make with our hands is this gesture of prayer. All of life is a prayer. So may the merit of our practice, all the work we do here on the mat, we take that out into the rest of our lives, and may the merit of that practice encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within us all. Namaste.